6-10, and we ain't smell the playoffs. Then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Super Bowl 53 here on the Louie T Network. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. That was an interesting Super Bowl. It came down to the wire, as these generally do. I told you the NFL generally gets it right in terms of competitiveness. We probably all thought that there were going to be more, and generally, I don't like to speak for you guys out there, but I think it's pretty safe to say we all thought there would be more than 16 combined points scored in this football game. But nonetheless, this has been a season full of points and offensive explosions and high-scoring contests. We saw these Rams in one of those contests this year versus the Chiefs on a Monday night, 54 to 51, I believe it was. So we've seen a lot of points, but this postseason reinforced the notion that defense still wins championships. We saw it in the postseason. We saw all of those points that were being scored in the regular season bogged down, and teams play defense and win football games. You saw it again tonight. I knew the Patriots were going to play good defense. I didn't expect them to play legendary defense tonight. And some of that is on the Rams and them not doing some of the things they've done all season long. Some of it is on Jared Goff missing some throws and missing some opportunities. Tony Romo showed you. And I talked about that on the pregame and the preview for this game. Don't get outside of your element. I talked about keeping the integrity of the offense, and we'll get to the keys to the game here in a second. But I talked about all of those things coming into the game, and you saw a team that was flustered. Give the Patriots credit. This is what they do. First and foremost, before I even get into any of the particulars, any of the ongoings of the Super Bowl, the game itself, the commercials, which were just awful. This might have been the worst year. And I said the commercials last year were pretty bad. They weren't even close. I mean, if you're paying $1.5 million, $2 million, $3 million for these commercial spots, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. These commercials were horrible. There were two good commercials the entire night, and one of them was the NFL. The best commercial of the night was the NFL commercial at halftime, and there was nothing even close. That was by far and away the best commercial of the night, and that was an NFL 100 commercial. I mean, these advertisers should be ashamed of themselves. But nonetheless, I know a lot of people are going to kill the game, 13-3, and a lot of people are going to kill the halftime show, which I'm not a fan of the halftime show anyway, so I could give two shits. But I know people are going to kill the halftime show, and I know people are going to kill the commercials, and rightfully so. Of all overall synopsis, this Super Bowl, it's not going to be as memorable as Super Bowls in the past. Last year was a great Super Bowl. The year before that was an overtime, the first overtime Super Bowl in NFL history. We've had all of these great Super Bowls stacked on top of one another, and we got a little bit of a dud here, and that's okay. I enjoyed the game. I can't speak for anybody out there. I know a lot of you like the 37-31 game. I like defense. And there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned slobber knocker that's 13-10. I like that. I sign up for that all the time. So I didn't have a problem with this game. But what I didn't mean to tell you is that you need to pay homage to the B&B winning factor. That's what I told you on the preview and prediction show for this, is that you need to bow down and you need to give proper respects and due and credit to greatness. I used to say the same thing all the time with Peyton Manning. I said, you're going to miss it when it's gone. And although I want Brady, I want Roethlisberger, I want Breeze, I want Rivers, I want Manning, I want all these old-ass farts, as I said on my podcast, I want them the hell out of here. You need to really bask in this greatness. Give this greatness its credit. When Belichick decides he's done, you will miss this. I know you hate the Patriots, and I was wrong about the stadium. I told you I thought that this would be probably like 60-70% Rams fans. They hadn't been here in over 2 decades, and the Patriots fatigue might have set in. Their fan base might not have wanted to travel. I was wrong. And Darren Rovell said out on a tweet, said that it was 80% Patriots fans. You could tell. He said, that this had a Jordan last championship versus the Jazz feel. Like, a lot of Patriots fans realize this might be it. There may not be another one of these. The band may not get back together. Gronk may not play another game after tonight. They felt like this could be the last time they hoist the Lombardi, and they needed to be here to witness it, and they showed out in droves. And they took over the stadium, and it felt like a Patriots home game. At one point, they were chanting Brady, 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 Brady in the middle portion of the fourth quarter. When they knew Brady was about to do some work, and he did. He took them down the field. They scored a touchdown. They won the game. So, yeah, this has the feel of maybe this is it. I don't know. I told you, I'll tell you when the Brady and Belichick B&B winning factory is closed for business, and you can go ahead and pronounce them dead. I told you I will tell you when that happens. It's not quite there yet, but I will tell you this kind of had a feel of a swan song. But again, 6 Super Bowls in 18 years, and now they're the winningest head coach quarterback combination in Super Bowl history. They both have 6 championships. If you count the 2 that Belichick won in New York, he's got 8 Super Bowl rings. The guy is a genius on the defensive side of football. I told you he was going to take away what the Rams did best. I just didn't expect him to take away every goddamn thing the Rams did good. And so Brady, when they needed him the most, the 2 throws to Gronk, the one to start the drive off against the Webcam out in the flats, gorgeous throw. But the one that was the backbreaker was the one to Gronk down to the 2-yard line. That's Brady at his best, Brady being Brady. That's now 6 for Tom Terrific and TB12 and Bill Belichick. Say what you want, call them what you want. They are the GOATs, okay? Belichick is the best coach we've ever seen do it. Brady is the best quarterback we've ever seen do it. Collectively, they're the best we've ever seen do it in the NFL, bar none, and we will never, I repeat, never, N-E-V-E-R, never see this again. So whether you hate them, whether you disrespect them, whether you can't stand what they represent, you must honor. And for those of you who don't respect them, I'm telling you right now, you don't have to like them. Hell, you can hate them. You can hate what they represent. But you better respect the B&B winning factory. They did it again, and I told you they were going to win this game, and I told you that the Rams had opportunities and they were going to have a shot. I didn't like the fact that they were talking shit before the game, but that had nothing to do with the outcome of this game. They're just better. Period. Sean McVay's never been here. It's not that the moment was too big for him, but it was too big for some of the players. Jared Goff, deer in headlights at times in this football game. Credit Belichick and company for setting that up, for putting him in those positions. Speaking of which, let's get to the keys to victory for both teams, and let's see how this game was won, shall we? And so we go to the keys to victory for both teams in this football game. We start with the victors. To the victors go the spoils. We start with the Patriots. Experience and start fast. Well, they had a chance. Great kickoff return by Cordero Patterson. Gave them excellent field position. They marched it right down the field, and Brady throws the pick. They had a chance to start fast, but I think when it was all said and done, the experience of being in 9 previous Super Bowls for Belichick and Brady was what shined through at the very end of this game. You saw them make winning championship plays, including the knockdown by Harmon in the back of the end zone. Goff should have seen that earlier and threw it. The guy was standing in the end zone waiting and waiting and waiting, and he threw it too late, and that allowed the Patriots, or excuse me, McCourty to get back there and knock it free. Either way, the experience of the Patriots, I think, is what ultimately shined through in this football game. You look at the next key to victory. Protect TB12. Look, he got his ass hit tonight. All right, they didn't sack him a ton, but he got hit tonight. They harassed him. He made mistakes. He missed throws. Why? Because they got to Tom Brady. You got to give the Rams defensively credit. They gave their team a chance for the second week in a row. They stood up and gave their team a chance to win. And if you want to count the Cowboys' performance against Ezekiel Elliott, hell, 3 weeks in a row, this Rams defense has been stellar. Ever since Aqib Talib came back, they've been a different defense. And ever since the playoffs, they've been much better against the run. And they got after Tom Brady in this game. We'll expound upon that a little bit more. But they protected him enough. When they needed to protect Tom Brady, they gave him the time he needed. And that last drive for the touchdown and the drive at the end to ice the clock, essentially, and put them in field goal range to put this game away was also huge as well. PlayStation. Sony Michel, almost 100 yards again, coming off of 200-yard performances in the 2 previous games. He was outstanding again in this football game. That's what they've morphed into of late, a team that can pound it. Since the Josh Gordon suspension, this guy has been one of their bell cows. Also, Rex Burkhead has been huge for them in the running game. Was last week versus Kansas City, or 2 weeks ago versus Kansas City. Had a big run at the end of this game as well. But Sony Michel, PlayStation, was outstanding in this game. He got it done for them, and that's another check mark there for the Patriots. This was the biggest key to the victory for the Patriots, though, right here. Make the offense just golf. And that's essentially what Bill Belichick, Flores, and company did, was they made the Rams offense just Jared Goff, and they told 16, you're a young guy, go win the football game by yourself. He wasn't capable of doing that on this day. And maybe down the road, Jared Goff will be more equipped with the experience necessary to help his team through a tough stretch like this. But right now, he just isn't equipped with what he needs mentally to get his team over the hump. He missed some opportunities. He missed some throws. And he just didn't have it today. And that all the credit goes to this Patriots defense for rattling his cage. They hit him a ton tonight. They were in his grill. For a Patriots team that doesn't have one defined pass rusher, the closest thing they have to a pass rusher is Kyle Van Noy. But they just blitzed a ton tonight. More so than we've seen throughout the vast majority of this season. They were on his ass. They mixed up their looks. They made it look like 7 guys are coming and only 4 would come. They made it look like 5 are coming, only 4 would come. They made it look like 6 was coming, 5 would come. They did a great job of bluffing. They did an awesome job of stunting. Van Noy came free on a number of blitzes, a number of stunts inside. You saw the blitz where they blitzed both of their safeties, or a safety in a corner, and one came free, and that was on the pick by Gilmore. They just did an excellent job of putting a lot on the shoulders of Jared Goff and making him have to win the game, and he just wasn't ready to do it, and I didn't think he was. And that's why I thought they needed to do it, and they did. And it's not surprising that's what Belichick does. And finally, something I said all postseason long, and they've done it, and I said this is why you don't run your mouth against the Patriots. Play the underdog card. They've been playing that up, and again, I told you all the greats do this. They look for that extra edge. They look for something extra because when you've won 5 Super Bowls, it's hard for you to have that extra oomph that you need to get you over the top. And look, Brady's a self-motivated guy. He doesn't need anybody on the outside telling him he's not good enough to get him motivated. He's more than motivated enough to try to go and win. Same thing with Jordan, but it always helps when somebody gives you a little bit of bulletin board material, that little extra oomph, that little extra edge you need just to go out and stick it to somebody. And they've been told all year long they weren't good enough. This was the weakest version of the Patriots that they've seen in a long time, that they were too slow, they were too old, that teams were better than them. The Chargers were better. The Chiefs were the better team. That's why they were #1 seed. That the Rams were going to hit Brady and they weren't good enough. They were going to stick the dagger in, twist it, pull it out, watch them bleed slow. All of these things were said, and at the end of the day, they played that underdog card as well as you could play it, all the way to a 13-3 Super Bowl victory, their 6th of their careers in Brady and Belichick. And that's how you play the underdog card, folks. You can't do it much better than they did during this postseason run. Meanwhile, so for them, really, they checked off every single one of those boxes. You know, they didn't start fast, but the experience, I think, ultimately won out for them in this football game. Meanwhile, you go to the keys to victory for the Rams. God damn it, get to Brady. Check. They got to Brady tonight, and that's what gave them a chance in this football game. They wore down defensively late on some of those runs that they gave up, but for the most part, they got to Tom Brady in this game. Sans for the one drive that they were able to score the touchdown on, they got to Brady tonight. And they hit him, and they hit him early. They hit him often. He was uncomfortable, and we saw some mistakes from Brady. We saw some misses from Brady. Why? Because they got to Tom Brady in this football game. Hell, they even made him fumble. That was more of Brady than the protection breaking down. Brady held on to it way too long when he was hit and fumbled the football. But nonetheless, they got to Brady tonight. Don't flinch. I told the Rams that the Patriots were going to come out, and they were going to be the aggressors early in this game. I told them, look, F your first 15. Bill Belichick's going to eat that shit for lunch. I said, don't flinch. With all the things that are going to happen early in this game, don't flinch. And could they have gotten off to any more of a worse start? You give up a big return, you give up a big run, and all of a sudden they're in your territory. And what did the Rams do? They didn't flinch. They get to Brady. Brady's confused. He thinks it's man, it's zone. Roby Coleman comes underneath. It gets deflected. It's picked off. And just like that, you have withstood the early tide and momentum of the Patriots on the opening possession of the game. You didn't flinch. And really, you didn't flinch the entire game. You didn't flinch. I'm really proud of this Rams defense. The offense let them down. And it's amazing when you look at this team and the way they're constructed and what they've done all season long. It's been the other way around. The offense has been holding up the defense all season long. And when it came time for championship level play, the defense stepped up and the offense really let them down in this football game. But they didn't flinch. They did not flinch in this game. Find individual matchups or J.C. Jackson. I didn't think the Rams did a good job of either of these things in this football game. There are opportunities to win one-on-one matchups, and for some reason they thought it was okay to continue to go after Stephon Gilmore. That's the best defender the Patriots have, and for the life of me, I can't understand why you're going to continue to throw him the football all game long. They kept going to Cooks. I know he's the best you got, but there's also Robert Woods. There's also other guys. They didn't get the tight ends involved. I don't think one tight end had a catch in this game. How about Todd Gurley catching the football out of the back? We'll talk about backfield. We'll talk about Gurley and his absence from this game a little bit later on, but they didn't get enough of the other guys involved in this football game. I thought that a big key early on was going to be the Texas A&M wide receiver. I thought he was going to have to be a huge difference maker, and that was where the matchup was for the Rams in favor of them, was in the slot with the Texas A&M wide receiver, and they didn't get him enough opportunities. I thought he was going to be the guy that made the true difference for them in this game, and I just didn't think they found the individual matchups. They didn't find J.C. Jackson enough, and give credit to the Patriots for making Jared Goff have to think faster than he wanted to, and his default tonight when he was under duress was, hey, throw it to Cooks. Problem is, Cooks is being defended by the best defender the Patriots have, and you could argue the best cornerback in football right now. So it's Stephon Gilmore, and so I just didn't love that strategy by the Rams. But again, that's what pressure will do. It'll force you to do some things that are uncharacteristic to you. Protect the integrity of the offense. This is where the Rams lost the football game here. They didn't protect the integrity of the offense. I told you, Bill Belichick was going to shit all over your first 15. You weren't going to move it down the field early in this game, but you were going to have to settle in. You're going to have to run the football. You're going to have to be consistent. You're going to have to play action fake off of that run. You're going to have to do the things that you've done. I didn't see one single jet sweep in this game. I didn't see one single misdirection with a lot of motioning and switching. They didn't change tempos a lot. It's hard to change tempos when it's constantly 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. It's hard to change tempos, but that's what made this Rams team so hard to stop. Was they were a simplistic offense this year. Let's not make it seem like they were doing things to reinvent the wheel on offense. They were running the football. They were going play action fake, but it's the way they did it. They did it with tempo. They did it with formational shifts and changes. They did it with a lot of eye candy. You didn't see that tonight. You didn't see the jet sweep. There should have been 1 or 2 token jet sweeps to get the Patriots to respect Robert Woods or whomever Cooks who's going in motion. They didn't do any of that tonight. They didn't do anything to make the Patriots come off of the original game plan, which was attack downhill and attack the line of scrimmage and get after them before they can set up blocks and press the hole and cut back. They had that one cutback run that Gurley had. Other than that, they weren't able to press the hole and cut it back and create openings up front. Why? Because the Patriots just came up the field. Why? Because the Rams didn't protect the integrity of the offense. And I told you, it was McVay. It was his job to help protect the integrity of the offense. It was the offensive line's job to protect to protect the integrity of the offense. And it was the running back's job to make some plays. None of that happened, and Jared Goff felt the pressure of having to win this game by himself, and he didn't get it done. But it wasn't just his failure alone. He didn't get the help around him that was necessary, and so they didn't protect the integrity of the offense. And so, again, give credit where it is deserved and due. Patriots had a hell of a game plan. They executed it to a T, and they made the Rams uncomfortable. And lastly, no cheapies, bleepies, or oopsies. Really, you steer clear of all of these. Stands for the oopsie late in the game, which was the interception that Goff threw. Give yourself a chance in that situation. They came with a cover 0 blitz. And yeah, you couldn't block them all, But I saw Robert Woods wide open over the middle of the field. Again, why are you attacking the best defender the Patriots have? I just, for the life of me, don't understand that. If I were you and I see that kind of blitz, I'm looking and I'm going to tell them, look, I don't want the back in the backfield. I want him going out for a pass. I want to get it out of my hands quickly because you had to know it's 4-down territory in that situation. So even if I dump it down to Gurley in that situation and he only gets 4, it's 4th and 4. It's 4th and 3. I'll take my chances there. But throwing it up for grabs against their best defender, not the smartest thing in the world to do there. And so that was your one oopsies in the game. But you steered clear of the dumb penalties. You didn't give up anything cheap to the Patriots down the field, nothing easy for them. You made them work for everything. Unfortunately, you didn't make enough plays offensively. And really, the two things you didn't do in your keys to victory really cost you the game. And that's 5 individual matchups with J.C. Jackson. And you didn't protect the integrity of the offense. And for that, you lose this football game only scoring 3 points. Hell, you were shut out for the first time in the McVay era in the first half of this game, with 2 first downs and 8 punts. I mean, it was an abysmal first half. You weren't that much better in the second half. And for that, you come up short 13-3 in the Super Bowl. Let's get back to this game and quickly get to a little bit more synopsis and analysis before we get to your comments. I know you guys have a lot you want to say. So, I thought the personal foul penalty early in the game against Roby Coleman, which they called on Dante Fowler Jr., was just garbage. It was really bad. It was horrendous. That being said, this game came down to pretty much what I've already explained. There's really not much more to say in this game. The pick thrown by Brady early was a great play defensively. Wade Phillips has Tom Brady's number, whether he's in Denver or he's in Los Angeles. He knows how to play Tom Brady. That's a fact. He confused Brady a ton in this game, but when it all boiled down to was Brady is Brady. Edelman should be the MVP. I didn't stick around long enough to figure out who they gave it to, but I'm assuming Edelman with 10 catches for like $147. There's no way he's not the MVP of this game, to me at least. He was outstanding in this game, a one-man wrecking crew at times. He got help from Gronk. If this was, in fact, Gronk's last game, what a game for him. I think he had 5 or 6 catches, over 80 yards. The big 29-yarder to set up the lone touchdown of the game for either team was massive. That drive was really the Gronk drive. He had the catch to start it off with a nice 18-yard catch against a Webcam, and then the 29-yarder down to the 2, a diving stab by Gronk. He blocked his ass off this entire postseason. What more can I say about Gronk? He is a complete football player, and I severely underrated his career. The man is definitely a Hall of Famer, and if this is it for him, I salute to Rob Gronkowski. He was outstanding in this game as well, but really not much more for me to say in this game. Let's talk about Gurley really fast, and then we'll get to your comments. I don't know what the hell is going on with Gurley and C.J. Anderson. I don't know. They keep telling us there's nothing wrong with Gurley. Gurley keeps saying there's nothing wrong with him. There's something wrong there. He didn't get enough touches tonight. They didn't throw it to him enough out of the backfield. I thought that was going to be a key for them, is because I said they don't have anybody that can run with any of these Rams running backs, especially Gurley. Gurley's the main guy I was talking about. Well, you got a matchup out of the backfield that I felt like they needed to take advantage of, and they just didn't. They didn't have him enough in the game to me. I don't think they threw it to him enough. Again, credit the Patriots for really harassing Goff and making him speed up his internal clock. He got rid of the football a lot faster than he wanted to in tonight's game. Same thing could be said for Brady. Only difference is Brady had a guy that was consistently winning in Edelman, so he didn't really have to worry about, well, damn, who am I going to throw it to? Whereas with Goff, guys weren't winning immediately, and so it was tougher on him to figure out who his outlet was. With Brady, the outlet was either one of the backs out of the backfield, Edelman, or Gronk. And so he had a way to get rid of the football. The same can be said for Jared Goff in his football game. But nonetheless, Gurley didn't touch it enough. Only 10 carries in this game. 1 catch, I believe, and that was a lost yardage catch out of the backfield on a swing route. They didn't do enough to get him involved in this game. And there's no excuse for that. Unless there's something physically wrong with Todd Gurley, there's no excuse for this man not touching it enough. I don't want to hear about We're going with the hot hand. C.J. Anderson wasn't the hot guy in this game. There was no excuse for Todd Gurley not to touch it more. And that's shame on the Sean McVay and Rams. And again, keep the integrity of the offense. They didn't do that in this game. And so there'll be a lot of questions to be answered in the offseason. And they're probably going to stick to their guns and say, look, you know, we just went with the flow of the game. And you know, Todd got his touches. He was in there. But that's not enough. You know, when we saw the Rams at their best this year, you know, Todd Gurley was touching the football, whether it was 9 catches and another additional 17, 18 carries for a total of 27 touches, or it was him with 23 carries and another 4 catches out of the backfield. You're saying 27, but in a different way. Either way, he was touching it well over 20 times a game. He hasn't touched it enough in his postseason run, and luckily they got this far without him being a factor, but you're going to need him to step up in his Super Bowl if you wanted to win, and he was a non-factor tonight. And again, I don't know where to directly place the blame, but someone needs to explain why Todd Gurley is only touching the football 11 times in the Super Bowl. It just doesn't make enough sense to me. And you'll never get me to really understand that unless you tell me that he was hurt. And you were denying the entire time, and he was really hurt. And if he was, okay, fine. We can all understand that. But don't tell us he's not hurt and then don't put him in the game. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, let's get to the comment section. Remember, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe to the Louie T Network. Make sure you check out the Louie T Network podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music Play, TuneIn, and of course the website louietnetwork.net. A lot of draft coverage coming your way soon, so make sure you're in tune to what's going on with the Louie T Network. That being said, use the hashtag #LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. If it's pertinent, I'll read it. So if you're new to the channel, use the hashtag #LouieTLive to have your comment read in the comment section. Let's see what we have. All right. I'm going to go all the way back to the top. Ali Side says, Lou, I actually enjoyed this game. Both teams did an amazing job of executing on defense, and we should totally appreciate this game. I totally agree. There were some missed opportunities by both teams. The miss by Goff in the end zone on Brandon Cooks. You can't miss, and that's what I'm talking about. Goff was off. They put too much on his shoulders, and when opportunities were there, he didn't make the plays because mentally the Patriots were in his head. And the reason they were in his head is because Sean McVay didn't make him comfortable. The offensive line didn't make him comfortable. The run game didn't make him comfortable. They didn't make Jared Goff comfortable. They needed to incubate him in this game, and instead they left him out in the cold to fend for himself. And I thought that was what was going to happen, and I thought that's why the Patriots were going to win. And they did that. The Patriots were able to pretty much isolate him as the only guy on the offense that was going to be able to be the difference maker. And I knew that was a problem for the Rams because we've seen that before. We saw it in the Bears game. We've seen when Jared Goff has been pretty much dubbed as the guy. All right, we're crowning you as the guy that has to win the game for his team. Go win the game. And against really quality defenses, he hasn't really been able to do that this season. And you saw it again in this game. I enjoyed this game thoroughly. But he missed the dig right over the middle of the field. Wide open receiver. He didn't get it to him. Instead, he tries to chuck it down the field 50 yards to, I don't remember. Was it Cooks again? Again, who was smothered in coverage. Like I said, Jared Goff was in over his head in this game. Storm says, I usually like low-scoring games, but this Super Bowl was lacking a lot besides punts. Ads weren't even great. Congrats to New England, though. I agree. With the ads being trash. I thought the game was beautifully played on the defensive side. A lot of physicality, a lot of hitting, a lot of the officials. They could have easily flagged roughing the passer. And if this was a regular season game, they're throwing the flag for a late hit there on the sidelines. This is the Super Bowl, and really all postseason long, they've allowed these players to decide the outcome of games, whether right or wrong. I know you can point to the Roby Coleman hit, but they've allowed the players to decide the outcome of games. I love it. Want more of it. There was a level of physicality that if you love football and you love the physical nature of the game that you really liked, a lot of hitting. Did you see Aaron Donald? Never, ever trust a man with 2 first names. Sling Tom Brady down to the ground. Easily a 15-yard penalty in the regular season. Just let that shit go. It's Super Bowl. We not here for no ticky-tack personal foul penalties. I loved it. Loved it. But the ads were trash. The Audi ad with the guy that was dying and was actually disappointed because the lady gave him the Heimlich and brought him back to life. He saw his grandpa. He's like, Granddad. He's like, Grandpa. And his grandpa was like, hey, come in, I got something for you. And he puts him in the Audi, and he's about to drive off, and he's like, and he wakes up, and the lady just gave him the Heimlich. That was the best commercial of the day. And again, that was miles away from the NFL commercial at halftime. Those were the only 2 commercials worth a damn. The rest of the commercials were absolutely hideous. JP says, Patriots have done it again, Lou. 6 for the Golden Boy and the hoodie. Indeed. Silver V says, let's give Romo his gold jacket now for analyst, not QB. He was more entertaining than the game was. He says, wow, he's so good. We've talked about Romo and how good he was after that Chiefs and Patriots AFC Championship game. I think we all realize that now. Corey Fitterman says, the B&B factory, the winning factory, indeed it was. John Perez also says, football has officially concluded. What are y'all going to do with yourselves until September? For me, I've got basketball, hockey to watch. Baseball is coming up soon. There's still more football. If you're interested, the AAF, I've talked about this on the podcast, that's coming up. It starts on Sunday. So if you still want more football, it'll be on CBS and the CBS Sports Network. You got more football coming. It's just, do you want any parts of it? It's up to you. Cloud says, this Super Bowl was okay. Really good defense. Ultimately, Brady being Brady. Can he retire, please? He's not going anywhere. Just in case you weren't sure, Brady's not going anywhere. I talked about it on the podcast. Ali Side says, I know this might sound fake, but I actually expected this game to be rather low scoring. Both teams relied on their defense after the regular season. I hear what you're saying. Nobody predicted this. I didn't hear one person say, yeah, this is going to be a really low scoring game. Not one. I think everybody thought this game was going to be played somewhere in the mid to high 20s. I had it in the high 20s, low 30s. I didn't hear one person say this game could be played in the teens. And for the Rams, they didn't even get out of the single digits. So Corey Fitterman says, the B&B factory has done it again. Indeed, they have. Cloud says, also, Chance the Rapper Doritos commercial isn't it. That commercial was dumb. As were the Bud Light commercials, as were all of the commercials. Nobody stepped up to the plate and hit a home run. I thought there were too many commercials trying to go for that whole simplistic, like there was one Michelob Light commercial where she's like out in the middle of this serene waterfall and she's got 2 microphones. Like, what the hell? And she's whispering, what the hell are you doing? Get that commercial the hell out of here. These commercials, the Kia commercial, are you really naming a truck? What the hell was the name of that truck? Something Run, You Run? Like, Tell You Run or something? Some stupid ass name of a... What the hell are you doing, Kia? Like, what are these commercials doing anyway? These commercials were so stupid. Silver V says, if Gurley isn't healthy, he might be forcing himself out of L.A. soon. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I don't know what the hell happened. If he's not healthy, this could be the start of some drama. You may be right. This could be the start of a team that may have said, damn, maybe we gave Gurley a long contract before we should have, and maybe we need to find a way out of this thing. I don't know. This could be the start. We've seen great situations turn ugly over shit like this before. Losing can start ugliness. We saw it with the Robert Griffin III situation in Washington. That shit went downhill fast. We've seen it with other situations. Losing can start some shit that goes. We saw it with Le'Veon Bell. We saw it with the Steelers and Antonio Brown. When you win, you cover up a lot of shit. You start losing, and shit can go sideways quick. So I'm hoping that this doesn't turn into anything. He should be a Ram, but this was weird down the stretch. It was weird last week after everyone swore up and down, or 2 weeks ago in the Rams game, that he was healthy and there was nothing wrong with him. It's even more weird this week because he had another 2 weeks to kind of get his body where it needed to be. I don't know. Michael Thompson says Goff had a terrible game. He wasn't good. I won't say he was terrible. He just wasn't good. He wasn't good enough. JP says the only commercial I was looking forward to was the Avengers 4 trailer, to be honest. He said Rodney Ray says Golfence. Yeah, it wasn't the Golfence tonight, not the one we've seen all season. Kyle Little says, I don't know if the Saints could have done better, but I think Bill Belichick would have shut down both offenses no matter what. That may have been the case, but it would have been a lot tougher to slow down that Saints offense. And we've seen the Saints bottled up this year. We saw the Cowboys do it. I thought the Eagles did a great job against them this season in the postseason. Rather, Rams had a good job against them after a slow start. But I agree with you. Belichick probably would have slowed them down as well. He would have took away Michael Thomas by putting Gilmore on him, shadowing him the entire game, and then he would have did a number on Kamara out of the backfield, and then it would have been up to Drew Brees to spread it around to the rest of the guys. And I'd take my chances with Brees over Goff. That's for damn sure. But in any event, JP says, Rams should be ashamed of themselves for shitting the bed like this in this game. It happens. This was their first Super Bowl. Sergeant Spooner says, did anyone else catch Brady kiss Robert Kraft on the mouth? What the F? They've done that before. That's not anything new. He's kissed him on the mouth before. I'm not saying it's right, but they've done it before. So you should be that surprised. What's up, Black L.A.B? He says, Welp. The B&B Winning Factory just signed a lease renewal on the NFL's ass. LOL. Well, they weren't going anywhere anyway, whether they had won or lost. But the thing that's scary is if Gronk doesn't retire, the gang's all back. And because Sony Michel is so good, they've got a new lease on life. If they draft correctly, and some of these young guys, I don't know if there's a Patriots fan out there that can speak to this. I don't know if Braxton Berrios is still on like their practice squad or if he's still on the roster or whatever. They could actually get better, can the Patriots? Like, this doesn't have to be the end. Now, if Gronk retires, it changes things significantly because not only is Gronk a big-time player in the pass game when he wants to be, but he's still a hell of a blocker too. Like, he's a great all-around tight end. You lose a lot when you lose Gronk. If Gronk is still around, man, the gang's all here. And if they still get Gordon back, and I honestly don't expect him to get Gordon back anytime soon, but you're hearing reports of, hey, he's doing well, which I am so happy to hear that he's doing well in rehab, and I talked about this on the podcast. But there's no way he can be reinstated where he plays even next year. I don't think he can play the entire season. He failed that drug test. He's got to be gone for a whole year, right? Right? Well, we'll see. Storm says, I've realized that I don't actually hate the Patriots and Brady and Bill Belichick. I hate the constant media coverage of them and the New England trash fans. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady often play good in games. Fans make it suck. There's some validity to that, but when you win as much as they do, you have either one of two ways you can go. Either you can be humble and take your wins in stride, as like the Spurs used to do, or you can be an ass about it. And because they're the villains, they choose to be the asses about it. I'm not mad at them for that. You know, when your team is the villain, if you like the Duke Blue Devils in college basketball, if you like the New York Yankees in baseball, if you like the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA, or now the Golden State Warriors, you're the villains. Your team is the villain now. So this is what happens. When you win all the time, you become the villain. And so you start to take on this persona of us against the world. And so there's a little bit of assholishness or ashholishness, if you will, that comes along with the territory. I'm not mad at them for this. When you win, people can't stand you the way that they've won, and you develop this kind of complex. Like, you know what? F you guys. You want to talk about us? You hate us for just winning and being great? Okay, well, we don't like you either. Chuck Sharts says, 2018 season in the books. Did you enjoy it, Lou, as a Browns fan? I did. I enjoy every football season. My team stinks. We suck. I know we're going to suck next year. We generally suck every year. I'm a football fan first. I tell all my Redskins family that the reason I don't get as wound up as they do is because I love football. I came into this game a football fan first. I'm a Redskins fan, a very close second. But I'm an NFL fan first. And it helps me because my team stinks. And if I was just a Redskins fan, I wouldn't be able to stomach this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I watch the Super Bowl every year, and I realize, and the postseason makes me realize just how far my team is away from even being remotely close to being like one of these teams. I mean, my team didn't look anything like the 6 teams that showed up in the NFC playoffs this year. Any one of the 6 teams could have ended up in the Super Bowl. My team wasn't even remotely close. My team didn't look like anything that resembled the AFC or NFC championship game. Nothing close. We're so far, miles and miles away. We're trash. But you gotta love football. Gregory Lightbody says, since the season is over, are you going to talk draft and free agency now? Of course I am. Of course I am. I got a lot of stuff to work on, but yeah, that's the natural progression. If you've been around and you know that. Hype Dude says, another win for the Patriots. Defense decided this game. Goff was on the floor more than he threw first downs. What a dynasty. Indeed. They got to Goff. Both quarterbacks were uncomfortable in this game. Unfortunately for the Rams, Goff was more uncomfortable than Tom Brady. Black L.A.B says, what happened to the top flight Rams offense? The old adage always applies. Defense wins championships. Amen, he says. Hey, I couldn't agree with you more, and I've said this, and I hammered it home during the start of the postseason. I said we're going to really find out just how much the NFL has changed, because we could sit here and talk about this is the new NFL, and I remember going on a rant and talking about how the NFL wants 51 to 50, 54 to 51. Like they got on that Monday night. The NFL wants 43 to 40 like they got on that Sunday night with the Patriots and the Chiefs. They want that. But I said the NFL is built on defense. That's what wins in January and February. Defense. Running the football. You saw it in the postseason. You can't escape. You got to be able to run it. You got to be able to stop the run. And you got to be able to get after your opposing team's quarterback. You can do those things. You got a chance to win. And, oh, by the way, it helps if your quarterback can make some throws in some tough, pressure-packed situations. Brady did. Goff didn't. There's your difference in this football game. Silver V says, do you think Edelman gets the respect he deserves? He's the definition of football player. Much respect. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves at all. I've heard people throw out Hall of Famer. I don't know if I will go that far, but I can tell you this much. He's one of the most clutch postseason receivers and players we've seen in the last 20 years. When it comes to receivers, Edelman is second in all-time catches behind Jerry Rice. I'd love to know where he is yardage-wise. I'd love to know where he is touchdowns-wise. He's got to be up there, top 10 in every single one of those statistical categories. It helps when you play in the Super Bowl almost every damn year. It helps when you play in at least 2 or 3 postseason games every year, but the guy still goes out and balls. So I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's done, especially during the postseason for these Patriots. Netzel's Toy says, 3 points. What happened to their great offense? Goff worth paying? Yeah, no. Look, this is not an indictment on Jared Goff. He's a young guy, first Super Bowl appearance. Patriots were on his ass. You don't denounce your quarterback after this. You're not down on Jared Goff. He had a rough go of it, but he's a young quarterback. Remember, he's only in his 3rd season. Like, let's not take this out of context. The guy's in his 3rd season. Not every quarterback is going to be Patrick Mahomes. All right, like you have to get that out of your head. He played well all season long for the most part. He had some bumps in the road, and this might have been one of his bigger hiccups. You know, the Bears game, obviously, in the regular season was his worst game of the year, but he wasn't great tonight, but he wasn't awful, but he wasn't great. Larry G's the best says, Goff is a bust. McVay made this bum good. Watch as soon as McVay is gone. Well, McVay isn't going anywhere, and Goff isn't a bust. All right, he's not a bust. Cloud says, damn, Cooks went to the Super Bowl back-to-back and lost both. LOL. I talked about Cooks on my podcast. I just don't know what it is about Cooks, but it is what it is. Blackbird Blitz says, that hit on defenseless receiver was pure BS. First of all, that wasn't even a good call. Like, are you kidding me? That was a screen. That was clean as a whistle. That's good football. Like, come on, are you serious? I talked about that at the top of the show. He says, when I saw that, I was like, here we go again. But other than that, I thought the refs called a good game. I agree. That was trash. I don't know what the hell that was about. I don't know if they was like, all right, let's get the Roby Coleman revenge call out of the way now, and then let's play football. So, but they didn't even call it on the right guy. They called it on Dante Fowler Jr. So, like, that whole call was trash. Ricky L says, I'm not the only one to play the what ifs, but you know damn sure if Alshon don't drop that pass, we win the Super Bowl. We're not playing revisionist history. I don't want to hear that B&B winning factory. He said, we easily put 24 up versus New England. Well, guess what? You didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Hell, you didn't make it out of the divisional round. So there's that. If Alshon would have, could have, should have, but he didn't. Catch the damn ball. You still had to score a touchdown, and you still had to advance past the next round. You didn't make it out of the divisional round, so I don't want to hear it. Hype Dude says, has to come to the end of the NFL season. Thanks for all your time and effort. Hey, that's what I'm here for, man. He also says, Or that was the same comment. Colts fan says, man, golf was garbage today. He wasn't good. You know, I'm not going to throw out as harsh terms as you guys are throwing up, but he wasn't good. He wasn't good enough. Colts fan says, Lou, I just watched the Redskins report. My team was in the same position as you guys. We had Manusky as defensive coordinator, Pagano, a mediocre head coach, and a trash GM. Don't lose faith, bud. Your organization is a way different than mine. You do have an owner that can be a bit meddlesome and sometimes a little off his rocker, and at one point he was abusing pills. But for all of that, your owner has never been as bad as the owner we have in Washington. There is no light at the end of our tunnel. You don't have a Bruce Allen. You've never had a Bruce Allen. I understand that at one point you had that one GM, I forgot his damn name. He even won GM of the year, if you can remember, when he first got in there. But he was awful. You guys, there was never a situation where he was a made man and he wasn't going anywhere. Like, Bruce Allen isn't going anywhere. Like, we're stuck. We have no coach. We have no GM. We have no ownership. We have no leadership. We have no quarterback. Even when you guys were struggling, you always had Andrew Luck. There was always hope. You were just there, but Andrew Luck was on the come. You knew he was coming back. We didn't know if he was going to come back to the level that he came back to this year, but Andrew Luck was always, there was at least that ray of hope. We don't have any hope. Soul Flow Sports says, yo, Lou, just stopping by to say what's good. Hell of a season. It's over. Just like it seems like yesterday we were just talking about Nicholas Foles' miracle. Until next year, bro. Deuces. Ricky L says, Soul Flow Sports, you said his name. It's Nicholas Foles. Yes. It's Nicholas Foles. Silver V says, McVay and Goff looked as if the game was too big for both of them. I told you the experience factor would kick in. I don't know if McVay looked like the game was too big for him. I think that he got away from some of the things that made him successful this year. And if you want to attribute that to the game being too big for him, go right ahead. But I thought he got away from some of the things that made them successful this season, and that's part of the reason why they lost this game. Sean Mack says, Patriots punter should have been the MVP. He kept the Rams in horrific field position all game long. Had the Patriots only scored 6 points or 9 points, I would have been okay with Allen being the MVP of the game. He was outstanding in this game. But when it's all said and done, Edelman's 10 catches for $150. He did just as much as the punter did for flipping field position. Even when they didn't do anything with those drives, Edelman's 3 or 4 catches on that drive to pick up a couple of first. Look, 10 catches, 8 of which were first downs, 8 of which resulted in first down yardage. He did as much as Allen did for flipping field position in his football game. So I hear you, but Edelman's got to be the MVP. Sean Mack says, former Browns wide receiver is going to get a damn Super Bowl ring. What the hell? LOL. Let's see. Any more comments? See where we got. Yeah, we got more comments. Reese says, I caved and watched it, Lou. I told you were. I don't know why you tried to make that definitive statement that you weren't going to watch. A lot of people said this game was boring. I enjoyed the game. I did too, Ree, as well. HHC Lunar says, record since Max Kellerman said Tom Brady was going to fall off of a cliff in 2 seasons. Look, man, again, Brady is one of those guys, he doesn't need it. He hears everything. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. You give it to him, and you just feed in the fire. Fueling the fire. Reese says, those T-Mobile commercials were hilarious. They were okay. Again, they weren't good enough for me, but if you were looking for some secondary commercials that just missed the list, because to me, the list is of 2. The Super Bowl commercial and the Audi commercial. After those 2, if you want to throw the T-Mobile commercials in there, I'm fine with that, with the phone and the messages. I was fine with that. Hey, how you doing? And then she types a whole paragraph, or the Uber drivers that says, hey, I'm outside, or I'm here. And she starts saying, thanks a lot. I've really been going through it. It's been a tough stretch. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm here. I'm the Uber driver. I'm outside. Yeah, those are okay. I'm good, though. I'm a pass. Reese says, which commercial was your favorite? I've already told you. The NFL commercial, by far and away, was the best commercial of the day. And then the Audi commercial was next. Sean Mack says, remember, Jared Goff did the same thing as quarterback of Cal Bears. He never wins the big game by himself. Look, it's a team game. And I told you, the Goffense had to remain intact. They had to keep the integrity of the Goffense. They didn't do that. I mean, you guys can sit here and blame it on Jared Goff all you want. Yep, he missed some throws. Yep, he missed some reads. He was pressured tonight. The offensive line didn't protect well enough tonight. Sean McVay didn't do a good enough job of scheming it up. They didn't have enough shifts and motions. They didn't create tempo. They didn't run it good enough. They didn't do enough to make Jared Goff comfortable in this game. You can blame Goff all you want. This was a total team fail on the offensive side of the football. Colts fan says, when the Panthers and Falcons lost the Super Bowl, we all thought that their Super Bowl windows were wide open. That does not seem the case anymore. Can the same be said for the Rams? It would not shock me if the Rams were in this same game next season. As a matter of fact, as I was watching the first half, I said, I think the Rams are going to be back here next year. But I say that with this caveat. Remember, you had a one-year deal on all the following players: Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, and Ndamukong Suh. So it'll be interesting. They got a lot of cap space that's going to be freed up. They still have Jared Goff on a rookie contract. To me, this is when you do your most damage as a franchise. We saw Seattle do it. They had a window with Russell Wilson on a rookie deal. This is when you can re-sign all those players, which is why they gave money to Gurley and Cooks and Aaron Donald. You can do that when your quarterback's on a rookie deal. Eventually, they're going to have to pay Goff. Eventually, that money's going to dry up. So the window is still open for the next 2 seasons before you have to pay Jared Goff. Then that window closes, and what you have is what you have. The nucleus of your team will be set then, because you won't have money, that extra money that you're not spending on your quarterback to play with. He won't be on a rookie deal anymore. You'll have to spend that $170 million like everybody else, that $200 and whatever million that everybody else has to spend on their quarterback. You're going to have to do the same as well. You already heard about Mahomes getting a $200 million deal, being the first quarterback in 2 years down the road. He's going to get that $200, and then we'll see all the rest of those quarterbacks follow suit. So their window is still open. It's going to be interesting this offseason to see what they do. Remember, they didn't have a first-round draft pick last year because of the trade to get Brandon Cooks. But nonetheless, it'll be interesting to see how they handle this offseason. Do they re-sign Ndamukong Suh? Do they re-up on the 2 corners, Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters, who are on both expiring contracts? It'll be an interesting offseason. What do they do with LaMarcus Joyner? He was on a franchise tag. It'll be interesting to see the dynamics of this team. A lot of moving parts. They want C.J. Anderson back. They've already said that. They'd be a fool not to have him back. This will be an interesting offseason for the Rams. But if they keep this team pretty much intact, make some shrewd moves in the offseason via the draft, I think they could be right back in this same spot come next year. Reese says, Brian Flores, if Brian Flores had anything to do with formulating this defensive game plan, he might be a decent head coach. We'll see. The Belichick coaching tree has been awful in the league. Not a single one of these dudes has panned out to be anything. Mangini, Weiss, Crennel, all of these guys have stunk. Every single one of these bastards has been awful. So I don't really know what to make of it. I mean, we saw last year the coach in Detroit, the defensive coordinator with the beard, Matt Patricia, reportedly showing up late for meetings. I really don't know what to make of what he's going to do in Detroit. I really don't know there may be a curse. And until somebody breaks it, I'm not buying what they're selling in New England with their coaches. So we'll see. Flores is going to have a chance to go up against Belichick 2 times a year in Miami. We'll see what he makes of it. It's a tough situation to go into because you don't have a quarterback. Maybe they draft one this year. We'll see. Archangel says, as much as I hate the Saints, I'm glad they didn't make the Super Bowl. It would have been a better game with the Saints in it. Can't believe I'm saying this, shaking my head. Sean Mack says, I cried at all that wasted cake on that awesome NFL 100 commercial. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, that was a lot of cake. Will Ford says, didn't watch the game, but I saw the 100 commercial, and LaDainian Tomlinson should have won Super Bowl MVP. I heard a lot of Saints fans boycotting the Super Bowl. For what? For what? Why deprive yourself of something you love so much? Didn't make sense to me. But anyway, HHC Lunar says, honestly, Lou, how much longer does TB12 have? If you listen to my podcast, I told you, it wouldn't shock me if he had 4 more years in him. It wouldn't shock me. I think with the way the NFL is set up, and I'm ready for all these dudes to kick their ass. And I said it at the top of the show. But I talked about it on my podcast. I legitimately talked about it on the podcast. Sean Mack says, bring back the Budweiser frogs. Or at least the Clydesdales, something. God damn. Archangel says, if I wasn't pissed off enough about 28-3, today really put the nail in the coffin. Still, rise up forever, win, lose, or draw. Reese says, maybe Gurley thing was disciplinary. No, he didn't break a team rule. It wasn't anything of the sort, he says, or something. Seems like a bad time to punish someone. It wasn't any of that. I can't explain it. Maybe we'll get more answers in the offseason. Maybe he was a little bit more hurt than everyone wanted to lead on. Maybe they didn't want to give the Patriots any unfair advantage, and so they just kept saying he was fine. I honestly think he was banged up. And when it's all said and done, if you ask me, he just wasn't right. And they didn't want to come out and say it because they didn't want the Patriots to have any distinct advantage. But I think when it's all said and done, we're going to find out over the next week or so that Todd Gurley was playing with fill in the blank, and he wasn't 100%, and he gutted it out, and he tried to give it all he had, but he wasn't right. HHC Lunar says, funny enough, this is probably the worst Tom Brady has looked in the Super Bowl, but he still did good. I agree. If you look at Tom Brady and all of his Super Bowl victories, this might have been the worst one he's won in. You know, threw the ugly pick early in the game, could have thrown some other passes that could have been, I mean, that play to Hogan over the middle that was tipped, easily could have been picked off if Hogan doesn't get his hand on that. That was a bad ball by Brady. Brady was not comfortable in this game. Missed some throws because of pressure. He looked flustered at times. But when the game was on the line, TB12 was the greatest of all time, like he normally is in pressure-packed situations. The throw to Gronk to start the drive off against Webcam was typical Tom Brady. Beautiful touch over the top. And then the throw in between double coverage to Gronk down to the 2. Tom Brady at his finest. Reese says the commercial with Harrison Ford, you're talking about the Amazon commercial, was all right. It was okay, but again, it's not what we've come to expect from Super Bowl commercials. It wasn't good enough. You know, with the dog, with the Alexa collar around his neck, that commercial, again, it wasn't good enough, Ree. You've set the bar too low. If that commercial was good enough for you, then you're grabbing at the low-hanging fruit, bruh. And you've allowed the bad commercials over the last 2 or 3 years to lower your bar. You should expect more from Super Bowl commercials. We didn't even get a good Doritos commercial this year. That's how bad Super Bowl commercials. There wasn't even a GoDaddy commercial this year. A raunchy, nasty, big-boobed GoDaddy commercial. We didn't even get one of those. This was a bad year for Super Bowl commercials. I didn't get my raunchy GoDaddy commercial. I didn't get my pointless but funny as hell Dorito commercial. I didn't get none of that. I didn't get my pointless but I needed Budweiser Clydesdale commercial. Nothing. They gave me trash and they told me to like it. Well, I didn't like it. Sean Mack says, don't be fronting, dog. You know you want to plant one right on Bob Kraft, laughing my ass off. I jest. Hey, Bob is my guy, even though he's a Trump supporter, and I could smack him for that. I love Bob because Bob gets down with the culture, man. He's cool with Meek Mill. He was dancing with Cardi B in the background. Hey, look, man, I got nothing. When you win and you cool, I got nothing but respect for you, man. Still want to backhand you, though, because you down with Trump, but I digress. I got Munson1 says, for the most part, impressive performance. Was the brother trying to fend off all those media members during Brady's post-game interview? The female was almost ended. I didn't see that, so I can't comment on that. Craig Smith says, so is it the NFC East to the rescue or nothing? I already told you, that's the only division that can take down Brady. Eagles and Giants twice. I told you, no one else is going to defeat Brady. That will be our claim to fame. When it's all said and done, when Brady's done 20 years from now, and we're talking about Brady being the best, I'm going to be the old guy in the barbershop, like the old guy in Coming to America, and I'm going to say, but the NFC East beat his ass. And, you know, Patriots fans going to say, man, shut the hell up. Tom Brady, best event all time. And I'm going to say, but the NFC East owns his ass. And he ain't going to be able to say shit. That'd be my one claim to fame. Us NFC East teams got to stick together. And we were 3-0 versus Brady. Take that, stick it in your pipe and smoke it. Reese says, the problem with the Patriots portraying themselves as an underdog is that they're total hypocrites. They are what they hate. They're a dynasty. They've become what they despise. They're only an underdog when you make them an underdog. They haven't been able to play the underdog card in about 3 or 4 Super Bowls. No one has ever flat out told them, you're going to lose in 3 straight weeks. They were told they were going to lose to the Chargers. They destroyed them, and I don't know what the hell anybody was thinking there. They were told they were going to lose to the Chiefs. I told them they were going to lose to the Chiefs. I thought they were going to lose to the Chiefs. And if D Ford doesn't jump off sides, they lose to the Chiefs. But that's nor here nor there. They won that game. And they got to the Super Bowl. I knew they were going to win this one. But a lot of people said the Rams are going to hit Brady. The Rams are going to get to Brady. They're going to lose this game. Okay, so you say. They got to Brady. They hit Brady. They did everything they were supposed to on the defensive side to give themselves a chance to win. And they scored 3 whole entire points. And if not for Brady throwing a senseless interception on the first possession and Steven Gostkowski missing a field goal early in the game, this isn't even a close game. They might have won this game 20-3 or 17-3. But instead, they made it a lot more theatrical with the mishaps early that allowed the Rams to hang in there. I got Munson says, going to be interesting to see how banged up Gurley was exactly. Congratulations, he says, to the dynasty. Have a feeling this is it for Gronk. Top 3 tight end ever. I think everything you just said is spot on. I think this is it for Gronk. I think this was his swan song. I think he is a top 3 tight end in NFL history. And it is going to be interesting to see how banged up Gurley, because something's wrong there. I really feel like that's the case. Joshua Z says, I've been a diehard Rams fan. This is a tough pill for me to swallow. I think I speak for Rams fan base when I said we didn't want to be the team to give Brady his sixth ring. You guys gave it a hell of a run. The defense was outstanding in this game. They gave you every opportunity you could ask for. The offense was awful in this game. Goff wasn't great, but he didn't get the help he needed. It could have been a lot worse, though. I mean, C.J. Anderson tried to fumble deep in your own territory. If Dante Hightower could catch an interception on the first possession of the second half, that's a short field for the Patriots. Like, this thing could have really went sideways, but as fate would have it, this was a close game. 3-3 at literally 7 minutes left in this game. The Patriots scored a touchdown to go up 10-3. I mean, this game was right there for the taking, and Goff took you down the field, had you in a position to try to tie the game up, and then he made a bonehead decision to throw it up for grabs, and it got picked off. Hell of a season, though. I mean, you've taken the steps necessary to put yourself in a position to try to win the Super Bowl next year. Now, again, what does this offseason look like? This is going to be an interesting offseason for the Rams, as I've mentioned already. Storm says, as a Raiders fan, I can understand your pain watching a losing team year after year. FBG Tony says, Ice got 21 rip. The numbers rapper, the rapper number. He said number rappers. Mr. 69 out here snitching. 21 is a British moron, and I don't know. He said, I know it's not football related, but it's hilarious. Indeed, it is. Sean Mack says, I was saying the same damn thing. Where was the Hoochie Mama Go Daddy girl? LOL. We got none of that this year. I feel cheated. I felt neglected. I felt abused. I felt used. I felt like I didn't get what I signed up for when it comes to commercials. I didn't get any of that. Reese says, did you see that stiff arm that Dante Hightower put on CJ? That CJ Anderson put on CJ baptized his ass. I didn't see that stiff arm. I saw the stiff arm that CJ put on the cornerback, Stephon Gilmore, but he popped the football free. That was the stiff arm that I saw. Did you see the stiff arm on the NFL 100 commercial? That was a hell of a stiff arm. And did you see Barry Sanders on the spin move? Whoo! Still got it. Sean Mack says Baker Mayfield gonna own Brady's ass from now on, bro. I can tell you this much: he's got Brady's 5 rings. Brady took them all off and said, "Hey, hold these." Maybe that's a sign of Brady passing on the rings to Baker. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that was symbolic. Reese says they're making a Coming to America 2, Lou. Eddie Murphy will reprise Prince Hakeem. I know. I just hope they don't F it up. That is my number 1 movie of all time. So I hope they don't F that up. Sometimes it's just better to leave things where they are. Obviously, they're going to make it where everyone's older now and he's going to have a son. And I just hope they get this thing right. That's all I ask. Don't F it up. I'll never let them live it down if they do. J. Camman says, I don't know how many times I have to explain this. The Patriots are the team to beat every year until Brady and Belichick leaves. End of discussion, and they cheat. Okay, he had to throw that last shot in there. The whole comment was great, and then he had to throw that at the end. But that's coming from a Bills fan. A place of hurt, I understand. Redskins Pride says, Lou, we are here in Atlanta now. I'm looking at their new stadium, and I think they have set the bar pretty low. The Georgia Dome was nice as the new one. Great parties here. I saw the stadium from the outside. I was just in the A not too long ago. It's a beautiful stadium on the outside. As a matter of fact, I went to the basketball game. The stadium next to it, they renovated that one on the inside, and that was a nice stadium on the inside. But haven't been inside the Mercedes-Benz Dome. So anyway, J. Camman says, I'm so sick of the Patriots winning. At least they haven't gone undefeated. Ali Saad says, the Raiders are now playing in San Francisco, the Giants baseball stadium. At least the Skins have an actual stadium. I hear you, man. It's not, you can't get much worse than what we are right now, though. I hear you. Sean Mack says, I'd have taken off with those rings. LOL. HHC Lunar says, will you cover the AAF? Probably not. I'll talk about it on my podcast, though. Make sure you check out the Louie T Network podcast. I will talk about it because I'm going to check it out next week to see what it's about. And I'll give, for those of you that aren't going to watch, I can give you a nice brief synopsis on the podcast. So check out the podcast. Not this coming week, because this will pretty much be all draft and Super Bowl related. The following week, though, after we've gotten a week of AAF football or football under our belts, then I'll come back and talk to you about that. So, yeah, I'll check it out. J. Camman says, Rams scored 32 points on average, and the Patriots' 19th ranked defense holds them. Yep. That's pretty much what happened tonight. Reese says, Eddie Murphy makes great sequels. Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours, I'm not too worried. Bree, you just went back and reached into the Eddie Murphy sequel jar from like 35 years ago, bruh. Like, first 48-hour sequels were all in the 80s. Like, bruh, when's the last time? Dr. Dolittle, Nutty Professor, what are we talking about? Those are 20 years ago. What are you talking about with sequels, man? Like, you're asking a lot, man. Eddie did Coming to America in 88, bruh. It's 2018. You're talking 30 years, bruh. It's 2019 now, 31 years. It's a long time, man. We'll see. J. Camman says, watch Baker Mayfield goes into free agency in 4 years. Brady retires. Baker signs with New England, and that's what the commercial was about. There's no way the Browns are allowing that guy to go anywhere if he's any good. Ali Side says, Lou, try not to be weird, but what city do you live in? I live in Virginia. Or I live in Virginia, and I live in Hampton in Virginia. So that's it. No more comments. This was a good show. I appreciate you guys. J. Camman says, will there be any winners and losers draft? There was. I actually did one, and I forgot to post the video. Duh, silly me. I'll post a video this week at some point. I'm sorry about that. I should have done it. It was supposed to come out pre-Super Bowl. It was done, and I never released it. So I'll release it probably tomorrow. I don't know what I was thinking. I forgot. I had so much stuff going on this weekend. I apologize. But in any event, that's it. That's the Super Bowl. Hail to the Patriots. Bow down to the masters that's greater than all of us. the New England Patriots, the B&B winning factory, they did it again. Brady, Belichick, 6 rings. Just like MJ, Scotty, and Phil, 6 of them things. And you won't see this again, ever, in the National Football League. Just like you'll never see a dynasty quite like the Bulls in the NBA. The Warriors are coming damn close, but you saw 2 3-peats by the Bulls, and if not for Jordan going to play baseball, they would have won 8 straight NBA championships. You're never going to see this again in the NFL, ever. You're never going to see a coach like Bill Belichick. You're never going to see a quarterback like Tom Brady. You're never going to see this kind of dominance in the NFL. 18 years, 6 Super Bowls, won 9 appearances. Brady has been to 40 playoff games. Belichick has coached in 40 playoff games. This is insane. But, 40 playoff games with the Patriots. He's coached in playoff games in other locations. But this is as good as it gets here. And you won't see this happen again. So, again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, you don't have to like them. You don't have to love them. As a matter of fact, you can hate or despise the New England Patriots. But what you need to do is respect greatness and all that comes with it. And respect what you've seen from these guys, because you may never, ever see it again. As I've said numerous times, like Scarface, say goodnight to the bad guys. You'll never see a bad guy, or guys in this instance, like Brady and Belichick again. Say what you want about them. Say what you will. But at the end, call them champs and the greatest of all time. Patriots win another Super Bowl, 13-3. 6 Super Bowl championships now for Brady and Belichick, the B&B winning factory. For the Rams, it was a hell of a season. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You fell short in the biggest game of them all. You got a young nucleus, a talented football team, and a bright head coach. Future is still all right in front of you. Everything you could ask for. It'll be an interesting offseason, as I've already talked about during this show. It'll be an interesting offseason. But at the end of the day, everything you want is still in front of you. You go back to the drawing board, you lick your wounds, you come back a smarter, more mentally tough team because of what you've endured this year, and you see if you can't get back to the Super Bowl, and maybe next year you win it. Who's to say? We'll see. But I'm your man, Louie T. Signing off. Make sure you subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so. Make sure you check out the Louie T Network podcast. A lot of great content for those of you who haven't been checking out the podcast. Shame on you. You're doing yourself a disservice. Check out the podcast, and we about to turn the draft up. We about to turn this draft coverage up. Next level shit. The game is changing on the Louie T Network. I just want y'all to know that. And I want every single one of y'all to be a part of it. Until then, I'm your man, Louie T. Signing off. Patriots, I salute to y'all. Your greatness can't be questioned. 13-3, Patriots are once again Super Bowl champions. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.